The next speaker today is somebody who's been fighting also in this area, in the Illawarra area, to stop coal seam gas mining, specifically coal seam gas by a company called Apex Energy, who wanted to drill around the special areas. So while we think our government is protecting us, it's actually people like Jess Moore up here that I'm going to introduce you that are doing a lot more than anybody else in this state to protect our water catchments. So please give her a hand, Jess Moore from Stop CSG Illawarra.
I was driving here today thinking what I could possibly say of use to a group of people who are thoroughly convinced that we need to stop mining in our drinking water catchment areas. And all I could think was, it's completely outrageous that we need to be here today. It's outrageous that communities across this state need to stand up against our government to get them to protect our drinking water catchment areas. Stop CSG Illawarra was founded in 2011, and we're just now going into our 5th year of campaigning against coal seam gas mining, particularly in the drinking water catchment areas for Greater Sydney. And we set up in response to an approved project of 15 that became 16 exploration wells in the drinking water catchment, the upper Nepean and Woronora drinking water catchment areas, layered on top of existing and expanding damage from coal mining. And the first thing the community in the Illawarra did when we found out, so this was approved in 2009, and the vast majority of people in the Illawarra had no idea until 2011. And the first reason people came into the campaign was they were completely shocked that a government would approve such a risky project without telling anybody in the community. And so as information about coal seam gas mining and unconventional gas mining came to light, we've seen increasing numbers of people get involved in the campaign. And I just want to map out probably the 4 key reasons I think there's been mass participation in the community in the Illawarra. The first is, of course, it seems absurd to bring contaminants into our drinking water catchment areas. So all coal seam gas mining involves drawing water out of the ground that's high in salt, high in methane, and can contain toxic and radioactive compounds and heavy metals. So immediately when you mine for coal seam gas, regardless of the method that you use, you have to draw this contaminated water out of the ground and into our drinking water catchment areas before you then dispose of it, whatever that means. The second is, of course, that if you're mining for coal seam gas and you're drawing water out of the ground, you deplete groundwater systems. Now, at various times, we've had governments who have looked into using our groundwater systems in our catchment as a source of drinking water when the dams have been low. Now, we're not in a situation right now where they're about to be used, but it seems utterly outrageous that a government would approve a project that draws water out of the ground when there's the potential for us to need to use that water itself. The third reason, again, seems incredibly obvious. Coal seam gas mining is mainly methane. That's the product that they want. But all unconventional gas mining involves this methane leaking out into the atmosphere, and to do that in incredibly sensitive environmental areas that are prone to bushfire which poses enormous risk to the quality of our drinking water, again, seems so outrageous I have no idea how it's gone ahead. And the last reason, which again seems obvious, is its industrialisation. To have a productive coal seam gas field, you need a wellhead every 300 to 900 metres, all connected by roads and pipelines. It involves laying these pipes in our drinking water catchment, it involves roads on top of those, and it involves these leaking wellheads spread in a web across our catchment. It seems so absurd that a government could approve projects like this and not talk to communities about it. We're just over a month out from a state election, and sometimes I don't like elections because they become this period where politics is about one-upmanship, competition, when actually what we need is people from all political parties to say this is too important, we have to work together. And so I actually have an ask today, because I know there's candidates here today, and that is, can you put the politics of difference aside and actually work together and lead on this issue? Because this is something that absolutely has to change, that people across New South Wales are saying to government, this absolutely has to change, and we can't keep having a situation where it's not even being talked about in large part by our major parties unless the community is forcing them by asking questions. We need people from both sides of politics to actually stand up and make the election about this issue and say that regardless of the outcome, we're going to protect our drinking water catchment special areas from mining.